All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to deconstruct one of Toni Morrison's most challenging novels, Love. And trust me, this is a book that grabs a word we all think we understand and just flips it on its head. You see, the whole story really boils down to this one powerful question. This isn't your typical romance novel, not even close. It's more like an investigation. It forces you to look at the word love and ask, is this a feeling or is it a tool? Maybe even a weapon or a shield. And right there, that's the key. Morrison herself tells us that in this book, love isn't some comforting thing. It's a cover story. It's the pretty word people use to hide all the stuff they don't want to name, things like greed, vanity, fear. So from page 1, you're trained to be suspicious of it. So that brings us to our first big idea. Love as the perfect alibi. Yeah, you heard that right. Forget about hearts and flowers. In this world, love is the best excuse anyone has for their absolute worst behavior. I mean, this just reframes the whole thing, doesn't it? The book basically asks, what happens when a whole town, an entire community, decides to use this one beautiful word to just not look at something ugly? It's like a social contract, right? An agreement to stop asking the hard questions. Okay, so to really see this in action, we've got to step into the world of one man, Bill Cosey. He's this charismatic hotel owner, and his money, well, it bought him more than just nice things. It bought him silence. His entire life is like a little kingdom, built on a very, very carefully crafted lie. And right at the heart of this kingdom, you've got two women who are just locked in this bitter, decades-long war. First, there's Heed, a young girl who becomes Cosey's wife. And on the other side, you have Christine, Cosey's own granddaughter, who gets completely pushed aside because of it. And this one number is the bomb that just blows up their whole world. 11. That's how old Heed was when Bill Cosey married her. And get this, she and Christine were best friends. So this act, it didn't just end a friendship, it hijacked it. It turned these two little girls into lifelong enemies. So for years and years, their whole fight is about who inherits Cosey's property. The whole town thinks the will is just this little note he scribbled on a menu, a local legend. But underneath that story, there's a buried truth, a real, formal will that tells a completely different story. And this quote from James Baldwin just nails it. The house isn't just a house, it's a stage. And that's why the fight is so vicious. See, it's not really about the money. It's about who gets to control the story. Whoever wins the right to say, this is what happened. They get to own the narrative. But really, all this fighting over the house, it's just a symptom. It's pointing to a much, much deeper wound. The real tragedy here isn't about who gets the deed. It's about what was stolen from these two women when they were just girls. Which brings us to a really tough question. What is stolen when an adult's desires just crash into a childhood friendship? You know, we talk a lot about romantic heartbreak, but what about this? What about when someone steals your very first ally, the first person you ever trusted? It's a profound kind of loss, you know? It's hard to even put into words. What was stolen? Their shared secrets, their solidarity, that feeling of ease you only have with one other person. And maybe the most heartbreaking thing of all, they lost their witness. The one person who saw them in their innocence and could say, I remember, I was there with you. And that's why their hatred for each other lasts a lifetime. Look, a romance can break your heart, sure, but this kind of theft breaks your foundation. It makes you doubt your own memories, your own story. That's a crack that can last forever. But here's the thing. This entire lifelong conflict, it's all built on an even bigger lie. And this is where we get to the story's biggest twist. It all comes down to a character named Elle. And Elle, well, she's more than just a cook and caretaker. She is the secret editor of everyone's reality. So here it is, the secret will. Turns out, Cosey didn't leave his fortune to Heed or Christine. He left his most prized possession to a woman named Celestial. And who was she? In the town's eyes, she was nobody, a woman they'd all just written off. So what does Elle do? She decides to protect the family's reputation. And how does she do it? 1, she poisons Bill Cosey. 2, she finds the real will and burns it. And 3, she lets everyone keep fighting over that fake menu note. She doesn't just hide the truth, she destroys it. She literally edits history. And that leaves us with this huge moral question, right? In her mind, Elle is being a caretaker. She's protecting them. But is she? Or is this the ultimate power move, deciding for other people what reality they get to live in? This quote just says it all. Protection without truth, that's violence. It might have good intentions, but it's still violence. Lie's protection is an attack. By hiding the truth, she didn't heal anything. She just took away their ability to name their own pain, leaving them trapped in a wound they could never understand. So, wow. After all that wreckage, all the lies, the stolen friendship, the edited history, what's even left? What is the real inheritance? This is where the novel brings it all home, moving past the fight over stuff and toward the real prize. The first thing we have to understand is this. The final inheritance is not the house, it's not the money, it's not the legal papers. All of that was just the distraction. It was the bait to keep everyone fighting the wrong battle. The real inheritance, the true resolution, is something much smaller and much more powerful. It's that final, quiet, painful moment when Heed and Christine, after all these years, finally, truly see each other again. They finally understand what was stolen from both of them. It's not about winning. It's about recognition. And that right there is the heart of it. The real inheritance isn't something you can hold. It's the right to be the author of what happened to you. It's the permission to tell your own story in your own words and to reject the lies everyone else wanted you to live. So we end up right back where we started, with that word love. And what we learn is that real love, it isn't the excuse you use for the harm. It's the tiny, tough, honest thing that's left over when all the excuses are gone. It's what survives the fire. And Morrison leaves us with that question to chew on. What's left for you when you finally stop making excuses?